Hello and welcome to Beyond the Slipstream, a little old side piece podcast to the Team Bus. I'm Matt. I'm here with my brother Justin, and Justin's got a whole list of stuff for us to talk about. And that's good because I have exactly one item on my list, but we're gonna let you kick it off.
All right. Well, we'll jump into some other World Championship racing from Kigali this week. So there was, I did catch a little bit of the individual time trial for the juniors, both men's and women's. So a young man from the Netherlands, Michel Maurice, is who won the men's juniors international or individual time trial. It's his best result to date. Second place was an American, Ashlyn Berry, all right, who is signed to ride for the development team for one Team Visma Lisa Bike. So he is not currently riding for them, but he is going to be riding for the development team in 2026. So let's keep an eye on that name, Ashlyn Berry.
Yeah. So that makes how many? That makes what three Americans on that squad?
Correct.
It's, Sep and Mateo.
Yep. Yep.
What happened with Dan McClay this year?
I mean, he's been there the whole time.
I feel like I haven't heard his,
doing
heard his
lead,
name.
just lead out specialist.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been leading out Olaf Koy a lot. Third place belonged to, and I love this name, Sef Van Krahova of the Decathlon AG2R La Mondiale under 19 team. Really, interesting to watch these younger riders attack this course because, like I said in the main podcast, it's just a brutal parkour in Kigali, and it was just chewing riders up all week. And these young riders, so many of them were just falling apart when they crossed the finish line. On the women's side, it was another rider from the Netherlands, Megan Ahrens. All right, and this was her best result to date. Silver went to Paula Ostis, and bronze went to Oda Un Giesinger of Germany. Now on to you should recognize a few of these names now that we're on to the under 23. So the men's TT winner for the under 23 individual time trial was Jakob Soderquist. And he rides for the Devo Little Trek team. I've definitely heard his name a couple of times this year in some of the smaller races. He's a two-time national ITT champion of Sweden, both in 24 and 25. He was also second on GC this year at the Tour of Denmark. So definitely, because I was like, when I was watching, I was like, man, I know that name. And that's exactly where I heard it was at the Tour of Denmark when we covered that. In the women's ITT, it was a national championship for Great Britain for Zoe Backstret. She rides for Canyon SRAM, and she is definitely, on the pro side of things, which is really, it's interesting with these U23 riders that, like, say Schaas who is under 23, obviously. He rode in the elite time trial. So it's interesting to see how they play it, because obviously I think that he's a rider that could have won, the under 23 category. So I don't know if it's like if they are on a pro team, can they not participate in the under 23 or can they? Because obviously on the women's side they can.
No, they can. I think my question is like, if you do U23 TT, are you then forced to do U23 road race, or can you do U23 TT and elite road race?
I would say probably that you're elite on both sides if you choose to be in the elite category.
Like you have to pick one category for the entire event.
I would bet.
I'd like to find that out.
Now, Backstedt won the Belois Ladies Tour in 2020.
Balois
Sorry,
tour,
excuse me.
The the Balois Tour. What is it? Tour of Belgium?
Yes, and then
Yeah.
she is currently the ITT national champion in Great Britain as well. She is an
Yeah.
excellent time trialist. That's really it for racing that I digested this week.
And her dad is a commentator, right? Magnus Backstedt.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So there's a couple of like news items that there's very little news outside of the national championships this week. But following I don't know what they considered that in the Tour of Romandy Feminine, where they didn't allow those teams to continue riding
Right.
because of the GPS thing.
Right.
So they were
GPS gate.
yes. So there were 5 teams that were disqualified by the UCI for allegedly failing to comply with the new GPS tracking regulations. Well, in yet another head scratcher of a situation with the UCI, the governing body has now escalated the situation, threatening to revoke the World Tour licenses for those 5 teams. All right. They referred the matter to the disciplinary commission and warned the teams that their licenses are now under review by the UCI licensing commission.
They are ripping a page out of the Donald Trump playbook. It's obnoxious.
It's disgusting, honestly. Look, we talked about this at the time that it happened and how it didn't make a lot of sense. All right. This is ridiculous. I understand that player safety or, rider safety needs to be at the forefront of things. You got to keep these people safe. We've had multiple deaths in multiple years. I get it. However, and I doubt that it ever comes to this, but like revoking Visma Lisa Bike's, licensing, for the women's tour, like where is there any benefit in doing that for anybody?
It's absurd. This issue, as it pertains to these teams in this particular race, it's done and dusted. The issue is not closed, but this thing is done. They were kicked out of the race. That was their punishment. They served it. It's done. We still need to have a conversation about this. The points that they raised are valid. You wouldn't have 5 teams standing astride one another, all making the same claim, if there weren't something there.
Yeah, if there wasn't some validity to it. I totally agree.
So their point is made. The UCI has made their point. Now what they're trying to do is make an even a bigger point. Like, we are you will never challenge us. We are not to be challenged. If you even so much as utter a peep, we're going to revoke your license. It's disgusting.
Well, and on top of it, look, this is on that side of the sport. It's already hard enough for everybody to do everything because it's harder for them to get sponsors, to get money, to field teams. Like, everything is less for them already. And now you want to talk about revoking licenses for some of the biggest teams, in the sport. And on top of that, it's like, how is that better for the sport? It's not. How is that going to help get sponsors coming to it when the big money sponsors teams are in threat of losing their UCI license? Like, get out of here. Like, it's boggling to me the way the UCI, handles these things. It's like they don't make a big deal about things they should make a big deal about, and then they make a big deal over things that should not be made a big deal over. And it makes no sense to me whatsoever why that they would continue this, weeks later, by the way. Like, why?
Yeah. Well, I think it was on Lantern Rouge that I was listening to earlier in the week or something. They were just talking about how, like, they're gonna push it so far that they somehow lose credibility, and you could see an organization like the ASO stepping in and being like, "Nah, we're just gonna start like running cycling, and you'll, like the live thing, the live golf thing."
Yeah, it's the same. They're inviting some shit like that.
Yeah, where people are just going to get. I mean, they've already tried it with cycling, and it didn't work. but it's just like, yeah,
Yeah, but
you know, you're,
with all the oil money that's out there,
hmm
and the fact that the
I know,
world's number one rider rides for, you know, UAE,
right.
like, like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just like it just doesn't make any sense where this is a benefit to the overall health of the sport at
Exactly.
all.
What exactly is the point of this? Who benefits from them making this move? Nobody. It's completely asinine.
Yeah,
All right,
no,
let's
I
move on.
totally agree. Totally agree. Um,
Don't miss the Team Bus, our weekly podcast about pro cycling, and oh, did I mention pro cycling? We're kind of obsessed. Dropping into your usual podcast feeds every Wednesday.
Adam Blythe, one of our favorite commentators from the TNT Sports Network over in Europe, made a wonderful quote that that I put in here that I just thought was awesome. He said, "Eddie Merckx' era was a different time. Tadej Pogacar already, quote unquote, the best rider who has ever lived." I thought this was very, very smart. I mean, obviously, it's just to ruffle feathers and make waves. You only make an inflammatory statement like that about the god Eddie Merckx.
How inflammatory is it? Like, honestly, this is just one of those topics that's up for debate. Nobody's losing sleep over this.
Oh, I bet there are Belgians that lose sleep over the fact that
Sure,
people are saying that Pogacar is better than Merckx.
but you can just very easily though make the case that'll shut down anybody who's trying to make this argument, which is this: the level of specialization that exists in the peloton in 2025 is times 1,000 to what it was in 1971 when Merckx was in his ascendancy, and to be as dominant as Pogacar is in this era of specialization is
Yes.
a far greater achievement. Of course, back then, one guy like Eddie Merckx could dominate and be heads and shoulders above everybody else because, like, this stuff was not anywhere near specialized, you know. And he had the best, a very high, the highest level of all around skills. But to do it in this day and age,
When the
it's a
competition level is so good,
yes,
yeah, it's
yes, it's like
ridiculous.
it's completely different animal.
Yeah.
This is a sport that has evolved, like all sports do.
Well,
Comparing Patrick Mahomes and Bart Starr, it's absurd.
yes. Well, and if you think about it from the aspect of, it seems like to a man, all of, like, whenever this question gets asked, outside of a few, snobby Belgians, like, pretty much everybody in the peloton's like, yeah, Tadej Pogacar is the best. Like, you know, riders understand the difference in what the margin for error is for them, and how he blows those margins away. I mean, just destroys them.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that there are people that can sit back and be like, oh, blah 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 blah. It's just like anything else. It's it is it goes to me one of the most frustrating arguments that I hear in modern sports is that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan was, and it's just like this argument makes no sense. You know what I mean? It's like, first off, his career is almost double Jordan's. All right, and LeBron has never won a Defensive Player of the Year. All right. LeBron hasn't won 3 rings back to back. All right. Twice. All right. And, or back to back to back twice with basically different teams. Anytime that, he's won, he's had to go and find a team and surround himself with a pack of superstars. And that's why, so it's like when people make this argument, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't get what you're saying. Like, you're kind of you're. I mean,
I'm saying
I
that
gather you're
the
saying
era,
Jordan is the greatest ever.
yes, and Jordan played in a much harder era
That
than
makes no sense because, like, we're saying that as sports progress, the specialization becomes greater and the level becomes higher. So you're making a counter. I don't understand your argument.
Well,
Our,
what
with
I'm
the cycling we're talking about, back then it was easier. There was less specialization. Nowadays, the level is so high that for Pogacar to be dominating the same way Merckx dominated back then, for him to be doing that now is a much more difficult thing to do because the level's gotten higher. So
well, no,
how is that like Jordan and
my
LeBron?
point being this is that for that I don't believe that. Now, again, this would be if it's not a great comparison because LeBron is not beating the shit out of Jordan's legacy. Okay, whereas Pogacar is beating the shit out of Merckx's legacy. I mean, he is
Not necessarily. I mean, Merckx is overall number. Merckx has still got still won every single monument twice. Merckx has as many Tour de France wins. Merckx won all three of the Grand Tours. Like Pogacar's got a long way to go to really pull level with Merckx in terms of like the overall career palmares,
all right.
the
Barring
completedness.
barring an injury, obviously we're in the moment now. And in
Mm-hmm.
both cases of Jordan and LeBron, we're not. Like, you know, LeBron's on the downside of that career.
Right.
All right, so these both of these careers have played out. You know, do you think that at the end of this that we don't say that Pogacar is the greatest that ever did it?
I reckon we probably will,
Right.
yeah, and especially if you take into account the level that he's playing at. I mean, LeBron and Michael Jordan played in completely different eras of basketball. LeBron's Jordan had a shorter career with more
Success.
championship rings and success. So it just it depends on the metric that you want to go by to
Well,
say what makes the greatest player, what makes the greatest player of all time. You know, I mean,
I think at the end of the day, when Pogacar's career is over, and we're now like we can with LeBron, looking not that his career is over, but the fact that we can look back at the history at this point, that we are going to be saying that Tadej Pogacar was the best. All right. I mean, again, barring some sort of catastrophic injury that takes him out of the sport completely, I just don't see him not unless. And again, the opposite being he could take himself out of the race as well.
yeah, I was going to say we've talked
Yes.
already about the fact that he has made overtones to the effect of like, I'm kind of over this thing. Like I'm sort of ready to be moving on. Like I don't know, who knows how long I'll be around or whatever. You know, like you know, we've speculated that will he even stick around long enough to go for that Olympic gold medal in LA? You know, are we going to be able to watch Tadej Pogacar racing in California in a couple of years? I mean, hard to
I
say.
think
I
that
would think
depends
on
on
his current trajectory,
the
you
level of
know,
competition. If somebody comes up to meet his level of competition and it gets harder, and you know, I think that he stays longer the more competitive it is. I think
it's
if he
really
just wins and wins like he does the last couple of years, then yes, I could see him retiring somewhat early. But I still think that he has goals. I still think that he wants all five monuments. I like this is a guy that purely enjoys racing the bike, and I just, you know, to me, if you're drawing if you're drawing a line between, you know, the greats of the greats of the game, all right, and connecting eras, in my opinion, you know, the you know, if you compare, if your equation is, you know, Jordan and Merckx on one side and LeBron and Pogacar on the other side, you know, I don't put LeBron's career where it is besting, you know, his competition from the other era, where I do believe that the older, you know, the older rider in terms of the LeBron and Jordan, you know, part of the equation, that Jordan was just better. And I just think that
this whole this whole thing just points out the obvious, which is that it's utterly silly to have
yeah.
try to quantify something like the greatest athlete in a given sport of all time. I mean, let's throw some hypotheticals out. Like, okay, is Pogacar even in the conversation if he doesn't win Milan San Remo, or if he doesn't win all three Grand Tours? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm right there. I mean,
I mean,
that's
it'd be
like two
tough to say,
biggies.
but again, I also don't think I don't think that 10 years from now we look back on it. I don't even think that's a possibility. I think it's
I know.
going to
I'm just
happen
saying hypothetically, like you know, it's possible that
somehow.
Pogacar's career could end without him winning the Vuelta or without him winning MSR, or both.
Well, MSR
You know?
unless they figure it out and figure out a way to crack it, I mean, it's a very good chance that he
Yeah.
doesn't win MSR.
And yet Merck's won it twice. So like, I mean, that right there, some rabid Belgian could say, well, if Pogacar didn't even win all 5 monuments, the conversation's closed.
Yeah, this is true.
Okay, go shift back over to Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Okay, Michael Jordan basically had a team of superstars the whole time. Like all the guys that were there with him. I mean, Scottie Pippen and Steve Kerr and those guys, like, he had a lot of like really great players that also won multiple rings. It's not like Michael Jordan was out there winning them by himself. Whereas take a guy like LeBron James. LeBron James goes to Miami, gets has what was it called?
The big three.
No. There was like when LeBron James announced that he was moving to
decision.
Yeah, the decision.
We
Right?
we were in Hilton Head.
Right, the decision. Okay, so he had that, and he goes to Miami, and he wins a couple of championships, and then he goes back to Cleveland to his home team, and through sheer force of will, he brings Cleveland a championship ring at his own home place with what's his name.
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving.
Okay, first off, I'm not going to say by sheer force of will. All right, he wins 2 championships in Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Yes, I know, but I'm saying
three A-level players or S-tier players.
I'm saying when he gets back to Cleveland.
I mean, Kyrie Irving's no slouch. Kyrie Irving's a pretty damn good player.
No, he's good, but what I'm saying is like Cleveland doesn't win that year if LeBron is not there driving the fucking train. So
all right, that I will agree with. I will very much agree with that point. Okay.
He is the thing that is there to deliver that championship, not Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving helped. LeBron carried it on his back. Nonetheless, did Michael Jordan ever do that? No, not even close. You know what I'm saying? Like Jordan was there in Chicago and wonderful land with his team of superstars around him, and just
and won 6 championships.
Right, they steamrolled. He never had to go back.
I mean, again, they still had free agency. They still lost players. They still won, back to back to back 3. On 2 separate occasions, they won 3 championships in a row, which is not an easy thing.
That's fine, but this is all leading to my actual larger point.
Okay, go on.
So I have to imagine LeBron has scored thousands more points in his career than Jordan ever did, right?
I mean, he definitely has the scoring title for sure.
More games. He also won a championship with the Lakers. So
correct.
He won championships with 3 different teams. Jordan only did it with 1. You know what I'm saying? When Jordan went to another team, they didn't even come close. So,
but again, in LA, surrounded by other superstars.
Okay, fine. But like I said, I've already negated that question because Jordan was surrounded by superstars the entire time anyways. At the time, you could have put Scottie Pippen up against any of the superstars that were on other teams. Nonetheless, my point is, once again, it is absurd to have this conversation in any way other than fun and speculative. It's silly. No 2 comparisons are ever the same, and at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to feelings and personal opinion. Like, who do I feel like is the greatest of all time? Maybe in other sports, there are players where you can say like, can we say in soccer, is Lionel Messi unquestionably the greatest soccer player of all time? I don't even think we can say that. Can you say it? Is there any sport?
Tom Brady.
What's that?
Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Might go with the position. I think you could say Serena Williams, greatest female tennis player of all time.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, it's like they have to have only the numbers, but also the vibes. See, I think that's a harder case to make.
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder because
Djokovic has better numbers than Federer.
Yeah, it's tough.
Federer, not Federer.
Federer. Sorry.
You're talking
Sorry. The other part of it would be, and where I would draw the comparison, I feel like guys like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan put their teams on their backs, all right, and took the parts that they were given and made it work. Whereas in a lot of LeBron's cases, he had to put the pieces together at a place via his own. Now, and I don't want to say greed or whatever, but I mean, he did leave. Okay, Jordan did it all with the same team. Had LeBron had the success that he had now, and he stayed in Cleveland the whole time, I maybe have a completely different perspective on this. I also look at LeBron like I look at Alexander Ovechkin, great singular players. Okay, I don't think anybody in the world would say that Ovechkin isn't great. All right, he's a great singular hockey player, but he did not put his team on his back and win the way a Wayne Gretzky did. All right, like Wayne Gretzky made everybody around him better. All right, Ovechkin was great around everybody else. All right, LeBron is great around everybody else. But I've also seen LeBron take 1,000 flops on the floor and cry like a baby, which I don't give a shit. You never saw Jordan pull that shit. Like, it just didn't happen. So, again, you're right.
But hey, Remco Evenepoel was doing soccer kicks on the side of the road in Kigali, Africa.
Yes, he was.
And we were loving him for it. So,
yes, he was.
That's all gamesmanship as well. That's the thing. These are just circular arguments. You can just keep arguing it and arguing it. For every point, there's a counterpoint, and at the end of the day, there's no real way. I mean, the only actual quantifiable metric that you can use for these sorts of things is the raw numbers. What are the stats? Who won more championships? Who won more MVPs? Because the minute you get away from the raw numbers,
it starts to fall apart.
Yeah, the nuance becomes too much.
All right. So let's put that to bed. Let's move on. The really big transfer news of this week, not that it's really big, but it is official. Juan Ayuso to Little Trek. 5-year deal. Brings massive star power and, big potential to that team.
I'm excited for that. It's an American team.
Yes,
they
sir.
Sort of, God bless Matthias Skelmos, but that team is lacking a real GC threat.
So
now they have one.
So here is just some of your hitters that you get on this team next year. So you still have, and this is obviously the big wonder is you have Milan and Pettersson still on this team. So those are your other two big names on this team.
But I think those two make sense on this team, as they demonstrated this year.
Yes, they can work together. The question is, does this personality gel with those personalities? Can they make all of that work and take a GC somewhere? Because that's going to be the metric right there. Can they walk away with a GC, one of the GCs that Pogacar doesn't take?
I mean, they have their sprint and classics approaches figured out 100%. Because Milan and Pettersson are such different riders, even though they are both quote unquote sprinters. They're such different riders, and they are each very, very good at the thing that they specialize in, which is two very different things. That there's no issue with these two guys on the same team.
All right, so here is the hitters on this squad. So we already mentioned Milan and Pettersson. You got Mateusz Vacek, all right, committed through 2029. Milan's lead out guy, Consoni, all right, he's through 2027. Edward Toons signed on through 2027. Otto Vergerda, the classics expert, through 2027. Ciccone through 2027. Skelmos through 26. Theo Gegenhardt, all right, former Grand Tour winner, through 2026. Tom Squins through 2026. Thibaut Nice through 2026. I cannot pronounce that guy's name to save my life. Gebrier?
Gebra. Yeah, what is that? Gebra Selassie or something like that?
It's crazy. You have Bauke Mollema through 2026 and Quinn Simmons through 2026, as well as a couple other ones. Notable losses were Stuyven, Kirsch, and Dan Houle. Dan Houle going to the new decathlon super team.
Yeah, I think they have got tons of options on this team, but I think Ayuso, amongst the people you just read out, it's either Ciccone or Skelmos as the top GC guy on this team, assuming that they want to go to the Tour de France with a nod towards a GC. I think the move for them is to be honest, I think the move for them is to send Mads to the tour as a not necessarily looking for a green jersey, um, but as a guy who is there to hunt stages and to help the team when they need him, and
Yes.
have all for one, have Ciccone there as a domestique for Ayuso, and maybe you send Skelmos to the Giro, and you give him a shot at the Giro, and then Ayuso goes to the Tour, and depending on how he's feeling, he goes to the Vuelta,
Hmm.
and Ciccone is riding in support.
Well, and they've got other support riders too. They have Baggioli and Kamna and Soren Krog Anderson and
Right, but I'm just
Johnny
talking about
Jacobo
their main
Mosca,
guys.
Johnny Mosca, and Tim Tweetenberg. So I
Tim
mean,
Torn to it.
they have some. They got that's going to be a stacked team, dude. Like they are definitely going to be doing things in the
Yeah,
coming year. So
I
it'll be
can't.
very
I can't
interesting
wait
to
to.
see.
Can't wait to see it.
All right. So that other than that, I did want to just briefly, and this is going to be a very very briefly, mention that XDS Astana now has a over 2,000 point lead over Picnic Post and L. It seems like they are both firmly entrenched, but Intermarché is still losing points to now Uno X, because Uno X has now overtaken Cofidis. The slide for Cofidis, they are now down into 20th place. And they only have Intermarché only has a 12:55 lead over Uno X.
Well, they're not losing points to him though. I mean, you said last week they were at 12:18, and this week they're at 12:55.
Well, a couple weeks ago. Sorry, that's like almost 2 weeks ago. But yeah, you're right. Sorry, you're right. I'm sorry. I looked at that wrong. I looked at it in reverse.
But Uno X seems to. That's the big story.
Yes.
They're pushing Cofidis out of the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's really it for me on cycling.
I just wanted to mention one thing. Did you catch somebody caught a zoomed in photo of Chloe Dygert's TTT bike with the "I stand with Charlie Kirk" sticker on it?
Yeah, I did see this. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it are we just playing into the argument by sitting here saying, "Oh, I can't believe she'd have that sticker"? It's like what with the guy who got shot, who a poor martyr who was
Who
assassinated,
espoused
like,
a gun? Espoused
what's
a
wrong with
gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know. I've never Chloe Dyger's politics have never entered into my
Yeah.
you know
Well, and
realm
I could do an entire podcast episode about how I don't believe really anything to do with that entire situation.
well, yes, we'll leave that to you and your other podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not getting into that
No,
right now.
I don't want to talk about it either.
But I don't know. I was definitely disappointed to hear that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. In non-cycling topics, I actually saw, or kind of finished one thing and then watched another this week. But I did see the new Fantastic Four movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Was this is Cena in this one thing?
No. Oh, no.
Who-
Cena's in
who-
Peacemaker.
Who's playing the big four? Who are the four? Who are the Fantastic
It's
Four?
Eben Moss,
Baccarat.
Baccarat,
Yeah, my guy from the Bear.
yeah, the guy from the Bear.
He's the Thing.
It's I forget the guy that plays Johnny Storm. It's Pedro Pascal is your Reed Richards, and Vanessa Kirby is your Sue
Got it.
Storm. They're very, very good. They all play very, very well together. Visually, it was just a gorgeous
Is it
movie.
What's the vibe? Is it like funny, or is it like lighthearted, or is it like serious?
It's a little bit of both. It really strikes the balance between kind of lighthearted and very emotional. Definitely, it is done very well aesthetically. It's awesome. It's like kind of set in this like the 60s, but
Yeah,
in the future it's got like a very 60s aesthetic to it, but like I don't know, man. It's just I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I always, my big thing with movies like this is pacing.
Is it 2.5 hours long? Like all these?
I don't remember what the runtime on it was, but I didn't look at my watch once. It goes pretty quickly, and they do a very good job of like setting things up without like inundating you with like an origin story. I mean, they really do a good job of like like giving you a synopsis without completely beating you over the head with it.
It was funny when I watched the movie F1. It's like the lengths they had to go to like explain all this stuff and like incorporate it into the story, so it just didn't seem like obvious exposition or whatever. But the announcers are giving pieces of information that's like there's no way in the world that the announcers are actually giving this information. If you're watching an actual race,
right.
Anybody watching this race already knows that.
Yes. And then the other thing that I finished this week, because I had started it a number of weeks ago, but I finally went back to it and finished it, was Stick on Apple TV. This is the Owen Wilson golf show
with Mark Maron.
With Mark Maron as his sidekick. I really, really like this. My wife was not interested in it at first, and by the end of it, like she was bought in on it. Super heartfelt, Owen Wilson just being the affable Owen Wilson that you absolutely love. Timothy Oliphant also makes an appearance in this, who I just absolutely adore.
Yeah, I like him as well. I will say this as a total Mark Maron stan and a guy who is has been with his show since it was in double-digit episodes. He's getting ready to go off the air.
Yes, he is.
I am 100% going to watch this. I've watched all of Maron's other stuff.
He is really, really good.
Yeah, I watched all of Glow, and I watched all of his show Maron that he had, his IFC show from like 7 or 8 years ago. And I've seen most of his movie appearances.
I'm not joking. He's really good in it.
No, I know. I have heard other critics talking about this show. Number one, I've heard that the show has kind of gotten bitch slapped around by a lot of critics. But I've heard other people talking about saying, number one, that they really admire his performance. And other people just speaking well of the show that did like it. So I'm sure there's something there. I like golf. I like heartfelt. I like Mark Maron. I like Owen Wilson. So,
and I'll tell you, you will be absolutely like rooting and cheering. They do a good job of like creating that really great sports drama. You know what I mean?
I love I love shows like that. I absolutely adored the first like few seasons of that Cobra Kai show. That was about the karate kid all grown up, and what's his name? What's the guy's name? Starts with the Z. The blonde dude that was always like the bad guy from the original Karate Kids. Yeah, Zabka, William Zabka. Love that guy, man. His arc is just so great. So yeah, I'm into it. I'll be catching up now that the cycling season is just about over. I'll have time for stuff like that, and the aforementioned season of The Bear that I have still
I still haven't finished that either.
So yeah.
But that's it. That's all I got,
man. To catch up on. All right. Well, thanks. That was good. Appreciate you providing all that material for us. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We appreciate your continued patronage and look forward to seeing you again coming up in just a couple of days on our next episode of the Team Bus and Beyond the Slipstream. We're coming up on 1 year. It's right around the corner. We're very excited. Thanks for being there with us, and we'll see you next week.
Ale.
Beyond the Slipstream is a companion to the Team Bus and is produced by Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!